Good morning, gentlemen. Wonderful weather. I'm going to talk to you on a very important topic, and that is the developments in Ukraine. I think all of you must have heard of the famous fiction writer James Hadley Chase, and he wrote a wonderful novel called The Way the Cookie Crumbles. So you know what a cookie is? It's a biscuit, type of biscuit which crumbles with time. And I'm afraid this is precisely what is happening to the Americans and Zelensky as far as the Ukraine war is concerned. That means they are like the cookie that is now crumbling. I mean, it's a very stark way of talking, something which many will not agree, but that is more out of sentiment than anything else. The Russians, as per the latest news, has mounted an offensive on Kharkiv. You remember, a couple of months back, they had made a foray on Kharkiv and Kiev, but they had to leave and go away. In fact, it was a retreat. They regrouped and came back in the Donbass region. But this time, the Russians have mounted an assault and part of the city is being evacuated. Nobody wants to fall into the hands of the Russians. That is the point which I'm trying to make now. So, gentlemen, the situation as it stands is very precarious, and the United States has called for more help to Ukraine. Now, what is more help going to do? Nothing. Because over a period of time, as I told you, the Ukrainian offensive has failed over. And they have suffered heavy casualties. In fact, in some of the battles, it's 1:9. That means for every one Russian soldier, 9 Ukrainians have been killed. And then about 8 to 10 million Ukrainians have run away. They're refugees all over Europe. So in such a situation, there's a shortage of manpower in Ukraine. And if I give them any amount of weapons, they won't be able to succeed. They were given the Leopard tanks by Germany. All of them have been lost. The Russians have pulverized them. There were the Shadow missiles given by the United Kingdom, and nowhere success because their main depot in western Ukraine has been hit by Russian Tu-95 bombers carrying cruise missiles. So, gentlemen, the war is now moving, as I told you in my last video, inexorably in favor of the Russians. And Putin has announced that if required, he will take on the entire NATO. Now, NATO itself is a paper tiger. I think I mentioned earlier. They haven't fought a war for the last 78 years. It's all right to carry out exercises and, guns firing and all that, but an actual battle experience entirely different. And I have already told you that the East European countries, the West European countries are facing a manpower crunch. They don't have the younger men either to fight as soldiers or as workers. So what they're looking forward to is the Middle East countries who have poured in some Muslims there to try and fill in the workforce. So in such a situation, how many think that the conventional armies of Western Europe or Eastern Europe or NATO can fight the Russians? There's no way. England's got an army strength of 80,000. And if the war was only to be won by sophisticated weapons, then the West would win. But the Russians have also got very, very sophisticated weapons. And as far as I'm concerned, I think what I've been told about Russia and my knowledge shows that the Russian military is very, very lethal and superior to NATO. And the Russians are now moving forward. The battle is also expanding. Now, Poland had been talking a lot, I couldn't understand what was their plan. You can't redress the historical wrongs by trying to go against a country for nothing. And there is tension between Belarus and Poland. And the Polish Prime Minister is worried. What about Lukashenko, the president of Ukraine? He's a pro-Putin man. and he's on the side of Putin, and now he's got nuclear weapons stationed in Belarus. So, gentlemen, the goose is getting cooked. And Hadley Chase, famous novel, the way the cookie crumbles, is coming true. The cookie is crumbling. Zelensky is looking desperate now. He's asking for weapons, and weapons are going to help him. Because I think the Ukrainian army is losing the will to fight. It happens when you're not able to gain anything, you make offensives and lose large numbers of soldiers. How do you expect them to have their morale high? Joe Biden, as usual, I think he's on the wrong wicket, a bit senile, still wanting to live in the glory of the past, not forgetting the fact that America is no longer the unipolar power. There's a massive military combination facing him from China and Russia, and though he's trying to placate the Chinese. So that's a game to see. But they can't get China out of their system. They got a trade deficit of $400 billion with China. Just imagine it. And tomorrow, if that trade becomes caput zero, the loss is going to be America's. The goods being sold in America, from small things, from pen drives to computers, will all vanish. America doesn't have any such industry going. All they have got is the military economic complex, aircraft, guns and things, and that is not enough to sustain the economy. England and France, I've already written them off. They are just, passengers on a train which is being piloted by the Americans and trying to live in their past glory. But glory doesn't last forever. And now the battle, coming down to the battle in Ukraine, I think it's a matter of time when Ukraine will have to say hands up or face more destruction, and Third World War, gentlemen, which I've been telling all the time, is on the anvil. Lukashenko may mount an offensive in Poland with the Wagner Group. And though NATO has been talking a lot, Article 4 and all that, attack on one is an attack on all, I don't think half the NATO countries are interested in fighting in Ukraine. Easier said than done, gentlemen. And bear in mind that NATO is a paper tiger. And the Russians have shown it that it is a paper tiger. Gentlemen, I think this is a short video. I want to keep you abreast of what's happening in Ukraine. The Russians are gaining in ascendancy. Kharkiv is getting surrounded. The Poles are under threat. Lukashenko is looking strong. And Zelensky, by corollary, is looking weak. Americans are desperate. They're calling for more weapons for Ukraine. But they will not commit their own troops to battle in Ukraine. They do that, they sign the destruction of America. Gentlemen, I think I will close now. I hope you liked this short video. Goodbye. God bless. And I will say, Jai Hind, glory to India. And do subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends. Come back for more. And take care. God bless.